Gotta look good.
Yeah, baby.
I almost wore my blue shirt, which would
Yeah?
have been matching.
I like it. You look very good, and I like the
Thank you.
hat. You really look good in that hat.
This hat,
Yeah.
specifically.
No, I think if you had like a cap too, I think it that you look good.
Yeah.
But don't wear the German hat I have.
Yeah. To post later.
Don't spill on the beautiful white background.
I will not.
All right.
So how's your weekend? Well,
The-
while I was cleaning the tank.
I started like get up at 8, started cleaning the tank, then decided to go have lunch and walk the dogs. Went to Pizza Hut and had some weird breakfast. And then came back at around 11:30. Then I cleaned the tank until like 3:30. Cleaned the sand, cleaned one canister, changed so much water. Tried to install my new sponsorship tool from Germany, but it was too small to attach to the cylinder.
Oh no.
So, but when you get shit for free, you don't get upset, right?
No.
Yeah. All right. Should we start? Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm here with Harrison Tate.
We are doing a podcast.
Yeah, and Perry just left. Your father. The two founders of Reach It. Actually, you walked the streets of Shanghai 8 years ago or something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like it comes up. Reach It starts future of cleaning.
Oh, so we started this business. Well, he started it back in Australia when I was like 16, and he was selling water poles imported from Denmark.
Yeah.
And then my high school shut down, and I was working for him then. Anyway, so fast forward to when we were in Shanghai.
Because of you, it shut down, or just?
Oh, the 2008 financial crisis. It was an American privately funded school.
Really?
That's why I didn't finish high school.
Fuck.
Because I was under the international baccalaureate system, where I would have to go to another IB school, but we couldn't afford another IB school at that point. So I would have to go back to an Australian public school, and I would have to gone back 3 years. So I would have been an adult, and my friends, or like the people that I'd be in class with, would have been 15, and I would have been 18.
Oh.
So Perry's like, don't do it. It's gonna be terrible. You're either gonna be like the older, smarter guy that this is too easy, so you're lazy. The cool guy, but then you're going to be the bad guy. You know? Terrible.
So, can you tell me a little bit like what it's like to work with your father?
That's the answer.
Cut. No.
No. It's really interesting because like from the beginning he's been more of a mentor as well as like working with. You know, it's more like he dedicates a lot of his time to growing me in the areas that I want to grow. You know, so it's enjoyable. It's stressful, but it's enjoyable.
So what's stressful about it?
Just we've got big goals, and then he's just we're trying to achieve them, and then in the midst of trying to achieve them, we butt heads.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
So what's enjoyable about it?
Just work is enjoyable.
You
know what I mean? Like I don't know any different. Like I haven't worked in any other company.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't actually know what it's like to have a boss that's not my father.
Oh, okay.
Or to work in a company I don't already.
That's the experience you have, so that's what you relate to. It's hard to relate to something you haven't experienced yet.
So for me, I'm like, what is it like? It's like I don't know any different, but I like it. We do a lot of cool things.
Absolutely, and I'm lucky to be part of it. By the way, I'm Martin. I'm a photographer. I'm a creative director, you can say, but I also have a background in photography, and now I'm also doing video with sound, which we are doing today. This is awesome.
Amazing. You can see the road mic.
Yeah, it's a mic here. You can't see it in frame, but it's definitely here. Let's go back to you and Perry. You said there were some challenges, enjoyable, but also as a mentor. What does he provide you as a mentor?
So Perry's got a background in NLP, neurolinguistics
Yeah.
programming,
Mm.
and he's gone through a lot of like mentorship style programs.
Mm.
So he is really skilled in being able to like, if you tell him where you want to be and what you want to do,
Mm.
he has the ability to take you there and push you and stretch you in like different ways.
So you also understand the process of going from A to B, because I can imagine as a father, you're more like telling your son, you know. If you're a typical father figure, you are the young man. I tell you what's right. But as a mentor, it's different.
No, there's a lot of people telling someone what to do is different than getting them to want to do it themselves.
You're talking about inspiration?
No, like if we're working together and we've got this video project that we want to do, and I go in and go, Martin, you do this. There's a big difference, especially creatively. There's a big difference from you wanting to do it and buying into it and then owning it as your own, than someone coming and going, you do this. You know, and I believe that for like creatively. Like if we need Steph to write great copy on the website, it's not just hey, write great copy. It's hey, I like this. Do you also like this? Hey, I like this. Do you also like this? Oh, this would be interesting. What do you think about this? And so like the person buys into it.
So it's by creating some kind of helping the person to engage in it, come with their own ideas.
They gotta own it. It's gotta be there. It's if you want to like start a project and get people to run the project. You can't just get them to run any project. They have to also have their own creative ideas into that project.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because now I've been with you guys for 6 months, and I can see that if you give me an idea, you allow me to run with it, and then you give me a topic. Okay, can you do something about this? Like we are selling overseas, like we're selling globally. You know, we can ship globally. It's like, okay, can you do something about that? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, okay, let's think, how can I do this? And I come up with a video idea, I come up with some text, I make it happen, I finalize it, not finalize, do a rough cut, and then I send it to you. Oh, we really like it, but you know, can you add this and this also? This is really cool, but maybe we can remove this. And I'm like, okay, cool, stop.
Lights, camera, action.
Yeah, so personally so I see it firsthand, and also since we're always growing, you're allowing people to like come in and grow.
Yeah, like I guess I haven't tried to articulate before like how I think of this type of stuff, but if you like imagine like a basketball team and you're trying to win, and you got a strategy to win, and you go, we're going to run these 3 plays. Everybody, has to have bought into what their position of in those plays are, and this is the goal of the whole team. We're going to we're either going to be like, we're going to hustle on defense, man to man, full court defense, like full court pressure on them. But then everyone has to buy into that, and in order for someone to buy into that, they have to believe it's the thing that they want to do.
So you have to find your role in the team that matches you, where you can grow. And sometimes you can also see like this defensive guy, he's also amazing, like attacking guy.
Yeah.
So maybe he can do both sometimes, he can shift.
And then he has to also want to do that.
So it's about that motivational part that you really want people to feel that it's there. They take more responsibility, I think, if they get that chance.
That's why this company can run without people, if Perry and I go to Thailand, let's say for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the company still runs. The reason is because everyone wants to be here, and they know what they need to do, and they choose to do it.
Yeah.
It's their, if they didn't want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah.
They might be the wrong person in that role. But if everyone chooses to do what they want to do, that's how things automatically run without you having to touch it.
I agree with that, and also since I'm part of the company, I can also it's a huge task for each individual to take. You take a lot of responsibility as well, because you allow me to take responsibility. So it's like you allow me to like run with it. If I have something, go with it. You know, maybe 80% is pretty good, 20% is not good, but at least you allow me. And the more I try and fail and create some great content sometimes, the better I get and the more I excel. I can feel, you know. So that kind of leadership, it's a lot of responsibility, but also it's a great chance to grow. I can feel
100%.
like in my profession, in my artistry or whatever.
Yeah, and this is the role that you want to do. You know, like you want to be in the creative zone. If we put you in, like, you go, oh man, you're working with us, go to the accounting. You'd be like,
do something.
No. You know, like
no, I will tell. I know that I have that freedom. I can say, I don't think it's a good idea. I think we should do this and this and this. And you can say, maybe you're right. Or, no, we really need this. So we can't talk about it as adults, not like I'm your boss, I tell you what to do.
No, and that's, I think, I don't know where that comes from. It doesn't come from you, of course. But I know that thinking of like, the metaphor, I'm the boss, this is what, like, everyone says it like that. And it doesn't make sense when you understand like company structure, like how it's supposed to run.
I think it's dangerous.
It's an organism. Yeah. Like it's a group of people working together to the same goal. It does need leadership to say, hey, we're all on point towards the same direction. But each person is responsible for their area. Yeah,
but you also need someone to like pull the brakes, you know. Even though someone says this, you need to take that. You need to take that responsibility to see like this is not going to work. If we want to try this, and then you can see, well, in my position, I see this and this. This have worked. This will work. I have to stop you guys here. I think we can try this. You know, you allow that responsibility. So, because if people just go, okay, we do this, it can be dangerous too. You want that kind of organic flexibility because the world is changing so fast, especially in media where I am. So I need to be like, oh, but.
Yeah, you need.
You know, we have to have a dialogue, you know, rather than a monologue from you, which we don't have.
Yeah.
We have a dialogue always, you know, where I can tell you what I think, and you tell me what you think, and we kind of best idea wins is something you often say.
Yeah.
And I feel that is kind of a huge. It's a statement, but it's true, you know. It is actually, you know, if it doesn't work, then I will fucking kill that darling fast. Yeah. And you will do that too.
I love that you're introducing killing the darlings.
Yeah, we're killing darlings here. You know, if it's like we get stuck, like, why continue with it? Why add things to it? Throw it away. Start over again. Do it again better. You know.
Yeah.
And you know that's similar with the repeat products in a way. You know, you always pushing the products out, and like, okay, we got great feedback. We have a test team. They give us this. Okay, we tried our best. We threw it out there.
Yeah.
This did work, this didn't work, let's do more of what worked.
Yeah, we had a foot pedal on the Flow Red that we cancelled.
Okay.
And we loved it, it looked so good.
Exactly, it looks so good.
It was perfect, like it would have made like so many more sales because it looks like, makes the unit look better.
But
when you rolled the flow over a hose, it picked up the hose because it was just on the wrong angle. And every other time it was working, but just as you rolled it over something, it would just pick it up.
So
functionally, it didn't make any sense.
But was it hard to kill that darling? Like,
for me, it's like it's basic logic. It's like it's not hard for me because I'm good at killing my darlings. And just go, oh, that doesn't make sense.
And you are single.
Yeah. They relate.
Depends when you look at it.
No, but you know, it's like, all right, logically it doesn't make any sense, right? It's going to be used in the field. It's going to go over hoses. And it's one of those things that will piss people off. You know, because professionally, it's going to roll over hoses.
Yeah,
it's like up a hose every goddamn time. It's not, and it looks so good.
But its purpose is to make the purpose is to make it not fall down, or what was the purpose?
All right, it's the purpose. It's so simple. The purpose is just so that you can like push it onto the wheels, so that it gets onto its balance of a what do you call that? Too hungover for this. The low center of gravity. Nope. Can't even think of it, but yeah, it's just a foot pedal.
All right.
To like put it onto the wheels, and it looks cool.
Okay. But I can just give an example of that today. Like I got a microphone that looks really cool and it's like pretty good. And I tried to mount it here and I couldn't mount it. So I'm like, fuck it, I get this one, put it up there. Yeah, maybe the sound is like 10% better, but I need to make it work now, and it has to serve a purpose, which is record what we're saying.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't work, throw it out.
Exactly.
Or redo it. And that is kind of,
you can't get attached to you can't get attached to anything.
That's very true. I agree.
And we're not. The difference is, like, there's a difference between a designer and an artist, right? An artist attaches their being to whatever they're creative with.
Not a great artist.
Not a great. I agree.
Maybe.
I know. I agree. I agree. No, but I think there's a difference between that and a designer.
Yeah.
A designer works in a business sense and solves business problems. Right, so you design a logo, you design an ad, whatever. In a business environment, you can't get attached to what you've already done. So you have to build it. I remember in the old days when I used to do a logo design or do a web page design, and Perry would walk in and he goes, I don't like this, no, that doesn't work. Oh, you've gone down the wrong direction.
Tough love.
And it used to kill me.
Yeah, of course.
Because I attached, because you know, anchoring, like in NLP. Okay, so NLP is like neuro-linguistics programming, like how the brain works for speech and whatever. So what you can do is you can actually anchor an emotion onto a physical object. So if you can imagine your happiness, right? If your happiness was on this straw, what color would the straw be? And then it goes into like, oh, it's yellow, blue, whatever. Oh, blue's, that's an interesting color, right? And make sure this connection is cut because I don't want you to actually do it. Technically, if I threw that straw on the ground and you had anchored your emotion onto that straw, you would get upset. Physically, it would be like, what happened, right? And you can't, and you got to be careful with this type of stuff.
I think it's about being professional. If you're working with someone, a client, if you attach yourself emotionally, you will lose yourself.
Oh my God.
You go crazy. When you go to school, you are very passionate. Everything is so personal. You learn your trade, but eventually you come to a point like you understand that the creative process of a piece of art or a creative process of creating the constructor brush. It's like, I love it so much, I'm not going to change it. What's going to happen? Client's going to be like, are you fucking stupid?
Oh, how about this?
Fix it.
Like, we put out like hundreds of hours into designing a brush, and someone says it's shit.
Yeah.
If we had attached our sense of being to the success of the brush or to how people react to it, as a lot of people do when they first start putting things out in the world.
In the beginning, it's very good.
Oh,
because you need a drive.
You need to put. That's how it gets created.
Yes, you need a drive, an idea.
You know, like the ideas to the share.
Yeah.
Right. The reason why share.
Share. What is talk about?
Share is when the idea is no longer yours. It's belonged to everybody else.
Okay, but now we're into something we actually talked about the other day. It's called IDEAS, which is an acronym. IDEAS is a way of going from an idea to a finished product that's out there in the world.
Yeah, so So when sometimes you wear oh, this is my business owner hat, or this is my advertising hat, or this is my HR hat, like the empathy or whatever. So what hat am I wearing to handle this decision? Well, the ideas is the same type of thing. It's a language that you can figure out what mode you're in, or what mode someone else is in. So the design execute is the biggest part.
Tell me first what the words stand for. Ideas.
I is inspiration. D is for design. E is for execute, A is for allies, and S is for share.
Okay, so can you...
So I is that creative, it's how does the idea get formed? What really, what was the thing that made you go, oh, I'm starting an idea. And that's the inspiration, that's that creative spark.
Okay, so let's say that I am in the executed mode. You're talking about ideas and I'm like, okay, how I'm going to execute it, I'm thinking like this, and you're in this.
Yeah, but this is what happened when we first started working together. You're always an execute.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of conversations, and you said I got to get more into being able to brainstorm.
Yeah.
And I need to get more into being able to
execute.
Talk about execute, right? And knowing the difference. And now we're on point.
Yeah.
Now it's you can feel where the other person's at.
Yeah, because I don't need to go to execute now directly. I can okay, let's spin this idea and just leave it. Maybe we don't finish it today, but we put the seed in the ground, water it a little bit, and like let's pick it up tomorrow, you know.
Well, it's like what happens with like, so Steph will try and put me and Perry.
Who is
for
Steph?
a meeting. Steph's the marketing writer.
Marketing writer at Reach It, okay.
And so she'll join me and Perry for a meeting, like brainstorming about different ideas we could do, different slogans, whatever, how to describe a topic. And she writes down every single thing that we could think of in these meetings. And there's hundreds of ideas. Now, if she had gone in there with an execute mind, or someone else would join the conversation with like an execute, every time there's an idea, it would go through the process, can we do it? But that stops the next idea.
Yes.
Right?
It stops the flow that you're in.
It doesn't get that momentum up, right?
Yeah.
So then you like, at the end of the day, at the end of one of those meetings, we have 100 different ideas. Like 100 different slogans, plus, minus, whatever, right?
Which is what brainstorming should be about.
Yeah, that's all it is. And then we look at those and go, what are the ones that we think that give us the inspiration to actually go want to work on them? And then we choose like the top couple, and then we go back into design. How would we do these ideas?
Then you go into more design, yes.
And then we go into like, once we do that, then we go, okay, can we execute? Like, how do we execute these ideas? You know, so you're going into the actual like, what's going to take to actually build this?
Yeah.
And then sometimes an idea gets killed at that point. The version of it gets killed.
But what I find interesting is that you can like create an awareness in the process that I feel that now you're very much in the executing role right now, and I feel like you're holding back to brainstorm. Can we just go back to brainstorming here, because you also want to apply it, you know, because if it just like, you have to be able to be aware of that.
How to talk with each other.
Yes.
Right. It's not a process on actually building the project.
Exactly. Yeah. I know.
It's not linear. It's not anything. It's just where is everyone at?
Okay. So ideas, 5 word, right? Yes. And so you've gone through the creative process, the design process, the executive process. Then you go into A, which is allies. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I don't really know about allies. Barry.
Yeah.
What's allies?
Allies is associates, affiliates, alone. Like it's who else is going to help us make this happen for the distribution, basically.
Okay. Do you want to jump in?
No.
You keep going.
Oh, I don't know him.
No, but
Who else is involved?
people who can help us execute this.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually thinking of I'm thinking like A doesn't make any sense.
Allies?
It does, completely, because if you can't do it alone. Well, you might choose to do it alone if it's a little thing, but you need other people around you. So it's A is group.
Yeah, think about...
I think it's because I only think in groups, so I'm just going...
Reach It Local is A.
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to help us distribute our product right now?
Our sales team in America, for example?
Yeah, or are you going to use distributors?
Me?
Affiliates?
I can be that guy.
Networking?
I'm an ally. I do videos and photos to try to explain the product, what it can do and whatever.
Right,
I think.
So A is just a reminder on that you're not just doing this alone, or you're not just doing this as like who you should involve in the project. Is that right?
How do you get the design to enter the market? Because if you just sit with an idea and have it in your factory, how do you get it out there? You have to have someone. You have to ship it. You have to someone put it together. Someone put it in a box. Then you have the sales team that can get to understand the product, maybe a maintenance video, all these kind of things.
How is that different to execute?
So remember that the first phase is imagination.
Yeah.
The second phase is reality. Right? So when you're imagining, how's this going to happen? Right? You've got to imagine, how the hell am I going to get this into the world? Like, what team do I need around me? So A is all about the team, the people. It's the people factor. Execute is the physical. It's the execution of the design. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But A is about people.
How do you because I'm really familiar with the I, this is my inspiration. I'm really familiar with, right, we're in design, we're in brainstorm, we're in the creation of new ideas and thinking about like how this could look. Execute is operations, right? So how are we actually going to get this done? Which is where execute makes sense to me. Which is why E and A are so damn linked, because like I barely do anything myself. You know, like from a start to a finish of a design, like an idea.
Talk to the mic.
No, E is internal, A is external.
Internal as in like inside my brain. Like
Inside the company.
Inside the company. So we're going to make a MacBook.
Inside the factory, maybe where we are now then.
Oh, okay. So A is outside of the people I work with regularly.
Yeah, allies, friends.
Got it. So like, so if I wanted to launch, let's say a new brush, and we've worked on the advertising, we've worked on the launch campaign, and then we involve Lee Burbage from the window cleaning magazine to launch it, that would be A thinking.
That would be a mild form of A. So you could also say, okay, why don't we go into Ace Hardware?
Interesting.
Why don't we go to?
Oh, okay. So it's not
a multi-level marketing plan.
Okay.
Right?
I just hope the mic picks this up.
How are we going to get this? So when we go to share it, who's helping us share it?
It feels like I'm talking to God looking into this light. You know, like the sun.
There's just a sound coming.
It's just the sound. It's like, I can't feel like this.
He's behind the light.
He's behind the light.
Yeah, he is the light.
Is that you, God?
I'm just hoping the mic picks it up. Okay, so ideas, inspiration. You get a idea. You're in the shower. You're like, boom. Oh, I want to make the window cleaning much industry better.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll be scrolling through something, maybe like it could be even Instagram or Pinterest. If I'm looking to design something, I'll go onto Pinterest, right? Because Pinterest is the best image search.
Yeah.
Because only the things that go to the top are the things that people share the most, and Google Images is different. Google Images is located when people are trying to find one image, whereas Pinterest is you're trying to find inspiration, right? So, as I'm going through design on Pinterest, I'm just scrolling through the feed, and then whatever sparks that inspiration, I take a quick screenshot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then I put that all into a folder. That's inspiration to me. It's not just out of the blue, the back of my mind, or how do you say, like the subconscious. The subconscious doesn't just click in. That's
the definition. That is actually the definition of inspiration. Is a mental and blinding flash of mental awareness.
Well, this for me, how I relate to it is the when I see something visually, and I go, oh.
But in order for you to look for it visually, you must have something that's driving you towards that.
Imagine me to describe the process. It's like this. I wake up in the morning, I make breakfast, I'm walking around my house. I love fish, so I have a lot of fish at home. I'm drinking my coffee, I'm like, fuck, I got this great idea. I want to do like this filter that do this and this and this. Now it's inspiration. Then I go to the office or I come home and like, how should it look? Then I go into design. I find inspiration on Pinterest or whatever. Then I go to A, which is allies. Okay, who do I need to get this design made, produced? No, IDE, execute. Then it's like, okay, let's get this.
Now you're working on it.
Yeah, now I'm working on it. Yeah. Then I go into A, allies. Who can I help distribute this or like help me market this? And then S, finally it's out there. I'm sharing it to the world. It's no end. It's no. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And the first, it's a double phase. The first phase is an imagination. The second phase is reality. Right? So everything's going to happen in your imagination before it turns into reality. You know what I mean? So you're imagining how you're going to execute it. You're imagining allies. Then all of a sudden you're actually in process. You're in design. You're in execute, and then you start making phone calls, talking to people. Hey, Carlos Gonzalez, you want to help us? Joe Kowalski, you want to help us? You know what I mean? Josh Latimer, you want to help us?
Yeah.
You know, that's the reality. You're actually then pursuing your imagination to turn it into reality.
Yeah.
And you have to know that you're imagining until that point.
Okay, my camera is just recording 30 minutes at a time, so if we miss something, we are very sorry, but here we are. We're back with Perry.
Ta-da!
And me, which is much better. So we're rolling.
Yeah, and
it's not into the microphone.
the exciting thing is that
You were talking to the camera off camera.
the microphone's here.
I know. I'm not perfect.
So what we were talking about is how broad this ideas thing is, and how kind of difficult it is to grasp. And so it's that grasping of it and the not knowingness, which is what everybody else is going to experience. So I really like that there are parts that you don't get. You know, I mean, let's face it, we got it back in 2015 when we designed it. Like, we were on it. So now we're going to reinstate it and make it part of our...
I think it's not a process. I think it's just a language. No.
Volume.
I hate when you do that.
Why?
Hey, it's just, I just don't
I'm
like
helping.
it. No.
Lee was the
You're
same,
not.
remember? Okay, so you talk softly and the microphone doesn't hear you. And then the people can't hear you in the podcast. So
Yeah.
there's a subtle... You do it for me when I'm not doing it. So anyway, it's all good. So the phases of ideas is, it must start with a blinding flash of something, which is what drives you to go to the next stage.
Yeah.
Right. And so I mean, let's take an example, right? We wanted to add a wagtail to every Reach It poll.
Yeah.
Right? And so we talked with Willie, and in the end Willie said, no, I don't think it's going to work for me, right, for him. And so I'm going, well, the idea, like the principles of what the wagtail is, because I used to sell, if you remember when you were a kid, I was going to home shows and demonstrating wagtails with Willie, and we did an expo.
I actually don't remember that.
Don't you?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I used to do on the weekends. I'd go out and sell wagtails.
I remember
And,
selling the thing that folds the shirts.
Oh yeah. So you something he can iron your. Why
modern
should
man.
she iron your shirt? I had a saying, right? I used to scream it out. Anyway. Yeah, so we used to do home shows, and then we did a cleaning expo together where we shared a booth.
Yeah.
So we had Wagtail on one side, thank you. Had Wagtail on one side and us on the other. So I was very much a big fan of Wagtail. And then all of a sudden we're left with a dilemma, right? Is that this idea of what I wanted people to be able to have access to with a Reach It poll wasn't available. And so at some point I've gone, I need to make it. And it coincided at the same time as the Beta brush pack.
Maybe you decided it was right. So you thought about it. You tried to work with Willie, tried to get an ally on the idea. You go, this is the right thing to do. And you couldn't execute on it.
Yes, but the blinding flash of the obvious came as a summary of a number of things, right? The Beta brush pack. We had 17 different brushes. We sold 4 at a time. We never told anybody that they were different brushes, and we got every brush had people that loved the brush, and every brush had people that hated the brush.
Yeah.
So in the end, I go, there is no universal brush, right? And that was an epiphany. And then that coincided with so the blinding flash of the obvious is, we need to make a brush that can be exactly what people need it to be for who they are, where they are.
Yeah.
Right? And so that became the spark of Constructor Brush. And it coincided with Willie not giving us Wagtail.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was just thinking like that wasn't about the Wagtail.
No, but these two events happened at the same time, which exploded together. I had a big problem here, and I had another problem there. And then by our good fortune and serendipity, Lee Burbage was my host in the UK in 2013, and we went to see Chris Dorber.
Yeah, Chris, that's what
Yeah.
I was going to reference Chris
Yeah.
Dorber to go. Like, he was the one who really put it together.
Sure, yeah. So the Wagtail thing became a problem that I needed to solve.
Yeah.
The Beta brush pack became a problem I needed to solve.
Don't turn my head.
right?
My neck's killing me.
Is it? Right.
Oh my god.
So I had these two problems that I wanted to solve.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, I got to make this brush, and I got this visualization that everything could be changed, everything could be modified, right? So, and that was very much, the whole philosophy that goes through Reach It anyway. So that we need to do this, and then we can do this. That becomes the original I moment, right? Where I go, I can do this. And then we sat with Will Hill for a year.
The I moment. I can
Yeah.
do this. Jesus.
That's good, right? The I moment. That's what we're going to call it, Martin. The I moment.
I can do this.
It all starts with an I can do this.
And then.
And
No, but this was the exact same time that we just did our first clamp.
yes, the tough
Right.
clamps.
And because like before then we designed you had designed the poles, but you design it on like section length and the fact that it pulls apart.
Yeah, that it pulled apart strategically, one story at a time, because you extend a pole to the maximum height, you clean that, and then you come down, as a rule, 11 feet at a time. So our extensions, our
So you
XTs were 11 feet.
Pretty much you designed a function rather than it being like a product, like rather than working with an engineer designing a product that had never existed before. You
Correct.
looked at the function and went, oh, if we just altered this,
Yes,
this is a much more usable product.
yes, yes,
And like that was the most we pretty much designed, except for like maybe the end effects.
yes, and the XT came in somewhere there.
Yeah, and then there's, because I remember like the history, it's just all of a sudden it skyrocketed to like, well, if you look at like our design, we're like kind of designing, but not where we're at now, right?
Yeah,
Kind of designing. Tough clamps hit. You're trying to you've thought of more tools to go on the end of the pole.
yep,
Right. And then Willie says, "No, I can't put the wagtail. You can't have the wagtail on the product.
Yeah.
You get more out of this than I get out of this." I remember saying that.
yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
And then at the same time, we're doing the beta brush pack, saying that it's so hard to say which brush cleans best because actually all these windows are different locations, different areas.
Yes,
Right. So we gave everybody every type of brush.
Yes.
And everyone chose different types of brushes for themselves.
yes,
Right. And then we're going, oh, how do we design a universal brush that meets everyone's needs?
yes. One brush that meets everyone, because we didn't have a lot of money, so I think that's our blessing, is that we didn't just go and make a whole lot of brushes, because you got to make like MOQ, minimum order quantity, is like 5,000 or 10,000 brushes at a time. And once you have those 5,000 or 10,000 brushes,
You have to sell them.
you have to sell them. That's what you're going to sell, right? And a big company like Unger, can't afford to stock globally, a whole lot of brushes, for example. So they make one brush, they put green bristles on it for windows, and they put yellow bristles on it for solar panels, and then they just have to...
It's still clever. It's still clever product design for it.
Right, but that brush is
Makes
not
it
a
easy
great
to
solar
choose.
brush, and it's not a great window cleaning brush in history, right? So I'm kind of thrilled that they spent $1,758 sometime in the last 4 months in our store and bought one of every brush that we make. So, get ready for Unger's new brush to be as close to ours as they can get away with. And in the meantime, hopefully they don't try and copy it directly, because, and hopefully our patent application goes through finally, and then we'll be able to help them.
Yeah.
That's my plan. Yeah, so we go back to that to the story of Constructor Brush, which will end up being Reach It Brush. Then we went through that whole phase, but then we sat down with Will Hill for over a year. He would come over at night, and he was learning CAD, and we were going through this. And then, if you remember, we were working out of 2 garages on the street front, in wherever it is, down the road here, near where we had the house.
Young Muchilu.
Young Muchilu, there you are.
How's that for a deep reference?
Great. So we worked...
Remember the street side.
Yeah. So we worked from there. That's interesting, right? You used a photograph to get the memory.
I have a bad photographic memory.
Very good.
It's not like Sherlock Holmes. It's just, that's how I remember.
Yeah, amazing. So, and then we were looking at the Richard Sorrell had a brush, the little red one, which had
The Tech Buck?
resin. That's it, Tech Buck, good. And so he had a beautiful
By the
little
way,
brush.
I did actually just picture it.
That's fantastic. Amazing. So he was setting the bristles in resin. So then we started buying, all these,
That was a good little brush.
resin making tools.
Gotta give it to him. That was a good little brush.
But I'd already
Light.
decided to go to blades, hadn't I?
Yeah.
Because we're actually laying the blades in resin to try and set them,
Yeah.
And then we were bending aluminium tube, and drilling holes, and then bending plastic tube, to try and make the water come out where we wanted it to. And then we decided that, because I became quite passionate at that point about laminar flow, right? We know that the risk back then of window cleaning with turbulence means the water hits the glass and splashes the dirty water that you're trying to get off the glass. You splash that dirty water above your rinse, and then you leave spots on the windows as a result of that. So we were solving a whole lot of things at once. And so then that whole year and a half from meeting Chris Dauber to Fernando, and in the middle was Will Hill, and all the sketches, all the ideas and all the designs and everything like that. That's the real side of design.
Yeah.
Right? We were trying to make something that didn't exist before, and that's the definition of design. You're making something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then as we locked
You're
down,
shunting in between design and execute. Because you're going, we should set the bristles in resin. Then out of our little garage, we're trying to set the bristles in resin.
yes,
And that doesn't work. Okay.
back to
back to
design.
design.
Yes, and that's that spaghetti mess of going through the reality and the imagination, and being able to identify when you're imagining and when you're in the real world, and your imagination doesn't come true. So then you have to go back and imagine again, and then you drive your imagination into reality again. And then we drew up, and we went through so many designs over 18 months and ideas. And
Yeah, and I wasn't here for most of them.
no, you had mononucleosis, right? Glandular fever. So then, this idea was now, we can put whatever bristle we want. We consolidated the rinse, but we didn't understand the water squeegee at that point. So we had 1 jet per inch.
Yeah.
And then, but we could put whatever bristle we wanted in, whatever length. There was boar's hair, PP, long, thin, hard, soft, Swift, which became Swift and Industrial, and Beast, brushes back then. And
We should also, the interesting thing is, I remember coming up with the name Constructor Brush because it was a build-your-own brush
yes,
pack.
yes. In fact, if you look at the other names that we registered,
Build-A-Brush.
Build-A-Brush was one of them,
I
right?
still like that name.
We had buildabrush.com. So, and what's proven to be an erroneous assumption, right? So if I just touch on decisions, you make a decision and you make a bad decision, you haven't made a bad decision, you just have bad assumptions. So you always make a decision based on your assumptions. So I made an assumption that window cleaners who service and maintain their squeegee every day or twice a day, right? They pull the blade out, they turn it around, they put a new blade in. I had this belief that window cleaners would really appreciate being able to do the same with a brush.
Yeah.
Right, and we talked about that, like that they could slide the bristles in. It was to me, it was just like, it's the same.
Cannons, you could have the distance between the water.
Cannons was phase 2, because if we'd have never done cannons, we would probably have won and dominated the market more than we did. So the first jets, if you remember back in the very first days with Mark Mini,
I don't know what they were called.
we had no name for them. We never named them.
Ah.
But they were basically
I remember. No,
holes.
I know what
They had a little barrel.
They
They had a little barrel. There were little holes. And then the problem with them, and me being a perfectionist, was that they were squirting a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and I go, man, I don't like that, right? So then we wanted to make barrels, right? So the cannons became the barrels, and then we wanted to have
Choice.
0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter, so people could have more flow or less flow.
Yeah.
Would be able to respond to high pressure or low pressure differently,
Yeah.
like, overcomplicated in hindsight. But I had a belief that people would appreciate that. And we do have a large customer base that does appreciate it, but the market as a whole has been, whether I call it dumbified but they've been educated that it's just a brush should work. I shouldn't have to service a brush. I should just be able to buy a brush and use it, right? That's the paradigm that sits in the industry, and in the end we will succumb to that, but after
No,
5 years.
No, we're not going to succumb to that. The difference is that the brushes that we're making now, we have the experience based, and we can recommend the exact brush that people need.
Sure, but it's still the brushes in the future will be less serviceable than the original constructor brush, and the reason it's going to be less serviceable.
Coming to the dumpification.
Well, I would say that, in my opinion, we're changing the way we present the brush, and we're changing the way we sell the brush to win to a better brush the people that can't accommodate in their minds the idea that it's able to be serviced.
Yeah.
So we're better to say, well, look, if 80% of people think a brush should be a brush, and we have the best brushes, then let's make the best brush a brush that's a brush.
Yeah, not changeable, not custom.
Yeah. Now, at the existing, let's say there's 8,000 whatever constructor brushes out there, they'll be serviceable, right? So we can support those people who've got those and they want to change the bristles out. We'll continue to have most of the bristles available. But the future, and we're not succumbing prematurely. So I think that's important. Like that, we're actually at the end of the road. We actually know the all-rounder is the best.
No, I'm happy to like the idea of saying that we will have a brush that is not changeable because it's a great brush.
Yes.
Totally cool to succumb to that, but when we say succumbing to the dumpification, we're not succumbing
No,
to the dumpification.
no,
which
agreed.
is what I was, which is what I'm arguing against, because I just don't.
We are
believe
not in the dumbification side. No, this is fair call. And I agree. We're not, because we are the educators, and we're a tool with a technique. We're not just a tool. And if somebody, for example, uses a reach-it brush the way they use a tucker brush, they won't get a different result, particularly. Right? They've got to use a reach-it brush the way a reach-it brush should be used. Yeah. Right? And we can go multiple times faster. But if you want to off-glass rinse with a reach-it brush, you're going to be as slow as anybody who off-glass rinses. It's not designed to be off-glass rinse. Yeah. So I think that from going back to the ideas, we have the inspiration, which is driven by a need and a desire, and so we go through this huge and long design process, and then we go to execute it, and then the execution doesn't work, and then we go back into design. And so even though if you go through the history of constructor brush, those first jets worked, and like Chris Dauber, for example, never went to cannons. He's still using his original constructor brush. So the people who never upgraded to cannons never had a problem. Yeah. Right?
But without cannons, we never would have made Hydroblade.
Correct.
And especially the latest ones that are crazy. That's right, I don't mean to swear.
Yeah.
They're fucking crazy.
So yeah, and
we bend water inside the rinse bar.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty insane.
So that it can't, and it's actually ridiculous. It's actually difficult to do that.
Really difficult. Like we've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on engineering to make a rinse blade that actually puts water where you need it. Because if you look at I'll talk about Tucker, right? Or Tucker or Gardner or whatever. The guys who have bought out rinse bars.
Sorry, my name is killed.
You cannot put that rinse bar with the brush on the glass and rinse in the corner. And equally, when you're going down the frame, let's say you're going down the left frame, if you splay that brush, that rinse bar is just squirting a single jet forward, right? And then the more you splay the brush, the further the brush moves away from the frame, the further the first rinse jet is away from the frame. So you can get that rinse jet, 1.5 to 2 inches away from the frame. Well, now you've got to go back to off-glass rinsing. And the most dangerous pass of a window for spotting, even if it's hydrophilic, is the outside edge, because the silicons or the rubbers or the plastics or whatever migrate across the glass and turn the first 2 inches hydrophobic. So that was always the challenge. If you go back to that 2012 to 2013 video, which is our most watched video in our YouTube channel, that video is, why do I get spots and how to fix it? And we cover that, way back then. So that was a problem for the industry, So, and everybody would say, not everybody, but a lot of people would say to me, you need a square end brush. And I've watched, for example, Ionics, I've seen their presentation which they give, and they go, oh yeah, there's some brushes in the market that have a round end, and you can't put a round end in a square corner. Now they're playing correlation and causation, right? There's a very, very subtle, way of saying to people, a reacher brush doesn't work. But we put rinse jets in the end cap so that we were putting water in the corner and we were putting water down the side.
Yeah.
But compared to Hydroblade 2 Plus, nowhere near as amazing or efficiently. So we still knew that we wanted to go there. Now we can go to a square-ended brush. Now we have deep frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So deep frame, but deep frame doesn't have the agitation in the corner as good as a round-ended brush. Mm-hmm. So those, if you look at that history, you can see all the design, execute, design, execute, design, execute. Always it has come back to imagination, and sometimes, like you're a designer of art and stuff, right? And logos and things like that, and media and all that. None of that stuff comes necessarily instantly. Do you know what I mean? If I say, hey, we need a new logo for this or whatever, you don't just go, oh, here it is.
No, of course not.
And you may not be able to give it me in
sometimes
a week.
I can do it, but also I can do it in 3 minutes.
If it goes like that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go like that, if you can't grasp it, if you don't own it, if you don't get that flash of inspiration, it could be a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not sitting there to drive the creative process. It doesn't even, you don't have an I moment, You have to wait sometimes you've got to wait for the I moment for the genius to exist.
This is the whole point of the ideas thing, is getting that inspiration. That's when I will go to Pinterest.
Yes.
To find something that triggers me. Oh, that's what I'm trying to solve. That they did this. And sometimes it's just simply like a color palette. Oh, I like those colors. And that starts the ball rolling. Cool.
So the ball's rolling, and so sometimes somebody will say to us, oh, the constructor brush does this, or it doesn't do that, or I did this to it, like if you drop it, it breaks, or if you bash it against a frame, the cannons would like breaking a tooth, the cannons would pop out, or whatever. Now, okay, then we're aware of a problem. Everybody can be aware of a problem. That doesn't solve the problem. So it's not until somebody gets a new imagination, like, oh, we could do this, oh, we could do that, right? And so
once you've defined the problem, then you've got the ability to get that inspiration as well.
Yeah, but there's no saying, oh, we have a problem, let's do this, because it doesn't necessarily happen that way.
No.
Like when we went from 1 jet an inch to 3 jets an inch, that was still that's another design to solve a problem. It's got to go through hey, we're running with a bias of 1 jet per inch.
Yeah.
If we ran a solid bar, we could put 3 jets per inch. And then we were blocking every second jet. If you remember back in the beginning, we'd say...
We didn't have water pressure because we didn't have the flow.
Yep.
That's where high flow came out.
That's where high flow came. It was another, thing to solve another problem where we're going, hang on, we've got this problem and people have got... Not everybody's got the problem. That's the thing. We might have 95% of our customers are completely thrilled and happy. 5% are facing some issues. 1% have got a critical issue, and we're trying to solve all the problems for all the people.
Yeah.
And then, like if you look at the new brush that we're working on now.
We're talking about ideas.
Yeah. We're
just speaking the language.
Yeah. So the new brush that we're working on now, we have an idea, we have an inspiration, we have a design, we can't execute.
Yeah.
We're a year in working out how to execute the design that we know works. We can DIY it, but we can't mass produce it.
Hey, you can't make it the same every time
You got it.
until you can make it the same every time.
And so therefore the market doesn't have what is our better idea because we can't execute yet.
It's coming soon, by the way.
Yeah, soon.
Almost got it.
Tsunami. Okay.
Awesome. And then we got to share it. I got to go to the toilet.
Oh. He's got to go to the toilet.
All right, guys.
So then we're going to share it.
Yes.
And the share, like if you look at everything about share, it's when you put it in the world and you can't edit it. And, you know, everybody can go, oh, cannons should have been this, should have been that. We can see that too later. But we had to put it into the market, and that's a share, right? We thought it was going to work.
No, but like as soon as we shared it, it's no longer ours.
Yeah.
Right. So they have a problem. Like if some people in their unique situation, the cannons popped off because of the fly screens that
The fly screen frame.
Screen frame in their area.
Yeah.
And then people in Australia didn't have that problem. So we don't have the fly screen frame like that. You know? So
yeah. So that's the thing, like as long that share is on a continual basis as well. Yeah. All right, so this is it. This is it's a banter, isn't it? What we've done is kind of like, you know, it's an unscripted exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so even the topic is like, you know, there's so many dimensions to it of trying to define ideas as a language, and I think we did pretty good, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And this podcast will continue.
Yeah, we're going to keep rolling, and we'll cover it, and we'll, you know, because it's just grasping it is not easy, you know. But when you grasp it,
until we can simplify it.
yes.
So we talked about a lot of things, right? And we're going to go deeper into some of these things.
Yeah, deeper.
Deeper.
All right,
Awesome.
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Whew.